The mess hall at Falcon's Landing buzzed with the usual Tuesday noise, clattering trays, rushed footsteps, and voices trading stories about training schedules and weekend plans. Yet at one corner table, an old man sat alone, quietly stirring the last sip of coffee in a thick ceramic mug. Captain Evans noticed him immediately. "Is this your first time on a base, old-timer?" Evans said, smirking as he approached, his captain's bars shining like badges of self-importance. Two young lieutenants flanked him, mirroring his arrogance. Philip Bradford, 84, didn't look up. His eyes pale, steady, tired remained on the swirling coffee. "I'm talking to you," Evans pressed, louder this time. "This area's for active duty personnel. ID now." Conversations around them faded. Airman paused mid-bite. Philip finally reached into his faded red leather jacket, pulled out a worn wallet, and placed a laminated ID on the table. Evans snatched it. "Retired," he scoffed. "Figures. Enjoying the free taxpayer lunch." He tossed the ID back carelessly. Then Evans noticed the small tarnished silver pin on Philip's lapel. "What's this cheap little thing?" he mocked, flicking it with a fingernail. The sharp metallic ting echoed like an insult. Some airmen winced. The line had been crossed. "This is my Air Force now," Evans said, leaning in. "We don't let random civilians wander around pretending to matter." Philip's calm, steady silence only enraged him further. "You know what?" Evans announced loudly. "I think you're trespassing. Probably bought that jacket and pin from a surplus store." "Security." He motioned toward the airman at the door. "Escort him off base. Full psych evaluation." He's clearly confused. The room went dead silent, then ring. Airman First Class Sarah Miller had discreetly dialed wing command. She whispered urgently to the staff sergeant on the other end. "Sergeant, the captain is publicly harassing an elderly veteran. Name on the ID is Philip Bradford." Silence. Then the sergeant's tense reply. "Airmen, stay on the line. Help is on the way." The words "get the colonel." "Nah." Faintly carried through the phone. Across base, Colonel and Jensen was in a budget briefing when her aide burst into the room without knocking. "Ma'am, there's an incident in the mess hall. The veteran's name is Philip Bradford." The colonel went pale. "Get my car." "Get the base chief." "Nah." Back in the mess hall, Evans puffed out his chest. "Take him," he ordered. The security forces airmen reluctantly stepped forward, but before they reached the table, the mess hall doors exploded open. Colonel Jensen stormed in, flanked by the base chief, master sergeant, and a 4-airman security detail. The entire hall froze. They marched straight past Captain Evans without acknowledging him. Colonel Jensen stopped precisely in front of Philip Bradford. Her expression shifted from fury to reverence. Then sharp, perfect, she saluted. "Mr. Bradford," she said, voice strong and ringing. "On behalf of the entire 12th Air Wing, I sincerely apologize for the disrespect you've endured. It is an honor to have you on this base, sir." A stunned whisper swept the hall. The base chief snapped a salute too. Evans blinked rapidly. None of this made sense. Colonel Jensen turned to the room. "For those who don't know, this is Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force, retired Philip Bradford." Gasps. Chairs scraped as every airman in the hall rose to their feet. "This man," Jensen continued, "flew 42 combat missions over North Vietnam as a B-Fighter gunner. He earned the Air Force Cross for protecting his crew for 2 hours under enemy attack, allowing them to bail out before the aircraft was lost. Afterward, he shaped the very enlisted education and quality of life systems every one of you benefits from today." Silence. "Ha. Respect." Then she turned coldly to Evans. "Captain, you are relieved of duty. Effective immediately. My aide will escort you to my office. You will not speak, you will not use your phone, and you will wait for me." "Understood." Evans barely breathed. "Yes, ma'am." But before he was taken away, Philip finally spoke. "Colonel," he said gently, raising a hand. "Let the boy stand a moment." He looked at Evans. His voice was quiet, steady. "Son, that rank on your collar isn't a crown. It's a weight. A burden. It means every airman under you is your responsibility, their growth, their safety, their lives. If that weight ever feels light, you are no longer fit to lead." He touched the small silver pin on his lapel. "This isn't a trophy," he said. "It's a reminder. A cost." In his mind, flames roared. He was back in the burning B-2, kneeling beside his dying co-pilot Miller. He had taken the pin from the young man's uniform just before the fire consumed the cockpit, a promise to remember those he couldn't bring home. Evans disappeared from public view. No court-martial. No spectacle. Only a quiet reassignment to a windowless archive room, digitizing old records. His resignation came a few months later. The base, however, changed permanently. Colonel Jensen instituted mandatory leadership heritage training across the installation. The centerpiece was a case study anonymous but unmistakable about a young arrogant captain and a legend in a mess hall. It spread to other bases. It became Air Force lore months later. Daniel Evans, now in civilian clothes, spotted Philip Bradford in a grocery store aisle. He froze. He could have walked away. Instead, he approached with trembling hands. "Mr. Bradford, I'm Daniel Evans. I was the captain in the mess hall. I never properly apologized. What I did was cruel. I'm so sorry." Philip studied him carefully, then placed a steady hand on his shoulder. "Son, we all have days where we fail. The question is whether we learn from them. Be a better man tomorrow than you were yesterday. That's all any of us can do." He turned back to his card. For Evans, the healing had just begun. For Philip Bradford, it was simply another quiet Tuesday. Heroes walk among us often unnoticed, often humble. Their greatest rank carried not on their collars, but in their character.